week, and then we'll have some homework. Okay, for tonight, we're going to read Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23, Text 6. Again, that's 323.6, Canto 3, Chapter 23, Text 6. So I'll read the Sanskrit and the word-for-word synonyms, the translation, and the purport, and then we'll go over the purport again. Okay, so Kardama uvacha tushtoham adya tavamanavi manadaya shushrushraya paramaya parayacha bhaktya yodehinam ayam ativa suritsadeho na vikshita samuchita kshapitum madarte Kardama uvacha. The great sage Kardama said, Tushtaha, pleased. Aham, I am. Adya, today. Tava, with you. Manavi, O daughter of Manu. Manadayaha, who are respectful. Shushrushraya, by the service. Parama, most excellent. Paraya, highest. Cha, and Bhaktya, by the devotion. Yaha, that which. Dehinam, to the embodied. Ayam, this. Ativa, extremely. Suhrit, dear. Saha, that. Deha, body. Na, not. Avekshita, taken care of. Samuchita, properly. Kshapitum, to expend. Mat arte, on my account. Translation. Kardama Muni said, O respectful daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, today I am very much pleased with you for your great devotion and most excellent loving service. Since the body is so dear to embodied beings, I am astonished that you have neglected your own body to use it on my behalf. Excuse me. So let's read the translation again. Kardama Muni said, O respectful daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, today I am very much pleased with you for your great devotion and most excellent loving service. Since the body is so dear to embodied beings, I am astonished that you have neglected your own body to use it on my behalf. Report. It is indicated here that one's body is very dear, yet Devahuti was so faithful to her husband that not only did she serve him with great devotion, service, and respect, but she did not even care for her own health. That is called selfless service. It appears that Devahuti had no sense pleasure, even with her husband. Otherwise, she would not have deteriorated in health. Acting to facilitate Kardama Muni's engagement in spiritual elevation, she continually assisted him, not caring for bodily comfort. It is the duty of a faithful and chaste wife to help her husband in every respect, especially when the husband is engaged in Krishna consciousness. In this case, the husband also amply rewarded the wife. This is not to be expected by a woman who is the wife of an ordinary person. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuro Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Angum Angayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamam Bande Shri Gurun Dinatarana. So let's go over the translation piece by piece, and then we'll go over the purport. Kardama Muni said, "O respectful daughter of Swayambhuva Manu." That's a very interesting way to address your wife, by calling her respectful. So she is respectful to her husband. And we read this before, that Gauravena means with great respect. So Devahuti was expert at that. She was deeply and truly devoted to her husband, from simply hearing about him. That's how she became attached to him, by hearing about him, just like Rukmini heard about Krishna. So Devahuti became attached to Kardama Muni through hearing. So respect for her husband was one of her most important qualities. And when Kardama Muni addressed her, he pointed out that virtue of hers first, was that she was respectful. So that shows that he appreciated that quality in Devahuti very much. Today I am very much pleased with you for your great devotion and most excellent loving service. So devotion and love are pretty much the same thing. Devotion can also mean that you act in such a way that you are very careful about the details of what you do for your husband. And attention to detail, punctuality, all these things. Remember how Srila Prabhupada said in the purport to 323.2 that Vishrambena and Gauravena, intimacy and great respect, are two important processes in serving the Supreme Lord or the husband. So Kardama Muni was appreciating very much that Devahuti was respectful, and she was giving excellent loving service with devotion. Next, he says, since the body is so dear to embodied beings, I'm astonished that you have neglected your own body to use it on my behalf. Some husbands may not understand how much we neglect our body to serve them, but that doesn't mean that we should give up that tendency to neglect our body for their service. We should continue. We see here the example of how important that is. In fact, Srila Prabhupada in the previous, I think it was just in the number 4 and 5, he said the wife is expected to be of the same category as the husband. Okay, so this is not the purport I was thinking of. The purport I was thinking of was where, it's in text 1 of this same chapter, that every woman is expected to be as sincere and good and chaste as Devahuti or Bhavani. So we're expected to come up to this standard. That's why the teachings are there for us to learn from. Okay, so let's read the purport. It is indicated here that one's body is very dear, yet Devahuti was so faithful to her husband that not only did she serve him with great devotion, service, and respect, but she did not even care for her own health. So one's body is very dear. Prabhupada sometimes gives the example that if you're in a catastrophic situation, a great tragedy is upon you, you will try to protect your own body first. He said that is natural because the body is dear to us. So yeah, the body is very dear to the person inhabiting it. Yet Devahuti was so faithful to her husband that not only did she serve him with great devotion, service, and respect, but she did not even care for her own health. Of course, Srila Prabhupada told us that health comes first. He told our god brother, Dhananjaya Prabhu, that one time when he was sick, Prabhupada told him, health comes first. You take care of your health, then you can pay attention to your sadhana, and then service. But most important is to make sure that your body is healthy. So that's how we should, in general, place our priorities, because we're not always in an emergency situation where we have to neglect our body. You know, just in normal daily life, we should be giving importance to our bodily health so that we can be a good servant to our husband and our children. So then after that sentence, Srila Prabhupada said, that is called selfless service. So selfless service is very, very nice. It's a very high level of operation or performance. Prabhupada says, it appears that Devahuti had no sense pleasure. Okay, so that means, that implies that Kardama Muni was meditating. He was doing his meditation, and she was actively serving him, providing him with a clean place to sit and a clean place to lie down when he needed to lie down. She was cooking for him. Her mother had, remember her mother, Shatarupa, had given her all kinds of household paraphernalia so that she could engage nicely in the service of her husband. So Devahuti was very, very busy, and Kardama Muni was not giving her children during that time. So that's why Srila Prabhupada said it appears that Devahuti had no sense pleasure, even with her husband. There was one time when Srila Prabhupada said that when the husband kisses his wife, she becomes more beautiful. So Devahuti was deteriorating physically. So that means that Kardama Muni wasn't even kissing her, what to speak of, having full-on sex. Acting to facilitate Kardama Muni's engagement in spiritual elevation, she continually assisted him, not caring for bodily comfort. It is the duty of a faithful and chaste wife to help her husband in every respect, especially when the husband is engaged in Krishna consciousness. Remember that letter that Srila Prabhupada wrote to my god sister Sucharya? He told her that you should serve your husband in whatever way he requires you to serve him. So that was Prabhupada's personal instruction to us ladies who are married. In this case, the husband also amply rewarded the wife. This is not to be expected by a woman who is the wife of an ordinary person. So we, being aspiring devotees, we are not married to ordinary persons. We are married to rare persons, persons who have dedicated their lives to becoming Krishna conscious and serving the order and the mission of their spiritual master. So these men that we're married to are very rare souls. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschitiyatati siddhaye. They're not ordinary people. So then why not? We can expect great things from our husbands. And we should. We should expect them to become pure devotees. And when they become pure devotees, then they can lead us back home to the spiritual world. Okay, so now we're going to do some screen sharing. I'm going to pull up a little page here. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit of a question and answer session here. Shraddha, please help me remember. I already forgot how to place this page on the screen sharing page. This is in Open Office.
You can, did you click on share screen and choose that window?
I clicked on share screen. Let's see. I don't have this particular page up here. I don't see it on here.
You don't see it in the choices of share screen?
Here we go, files, maybe in files. No.
You can open it in Open Office first and then click on share screen, so it will show as one of the choices.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now, can you hear me, Shraddha?
Yes.
Okay, So I have my page open. It's a file in Open Office. So now, tell me again what I need to do.
If you scroll to the bottom of your Zoom window, you see a green button, share screen.
Okay, let me pull that up again. Sorry, it's so hard for me to remember from week to week how to do things. There we go. Okay.
Click on that and one of the windows will be your file.
That it came
Click
up.
on that.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of do a review here. It's kind of like an open book test. It's not that you have to remember things, but we're just gonna go over these points together. So what are the first 4 secrets of fascinating womanhood? What are the first 4 secrets of fascinating womanhood?
All 4?
Yeah, number 1 is accept him. Number 2, admire him. Number 3, make him number 1. Number 4, allow him to lead. Okay, these are the most important secrets of fascinating womanhood. Accept him, admire him, make him number 1, and allow him to lead. Okay, so what is the first principle or warning that's given in Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood? The first principle or warning that's given in the Secrets book is to use restraint. That means that when you first begin to learn about these principles, you don't just overwhelm your husband with all kinds of compliments and, just don't overdo it. Be a little restrained in how you perform. And especially in number 2 or number B up above, right here, if you overdo it, then he may think that you're insincere, that you're just putting on a show, putting on an act. So we don't want him to feel that way. We want him to know that we really do appreciate him. So it's got to be sincere. So that's number 2, be sincere. Number 3, let your femininity blossom naturally. Okay, so that will naturally come. All the wonderful feminine qualities that we had when we were little tiny girls, those feminine qualities will return. They'll return and they'll blossom naturally. What 3 requirements do we need to have in order to implement the principles of fascinating womanhood? Well, the 2 that are mentioned together in the beginning of the book are humility and trust in the wise plan of a loving God. So we need to be humble and we need to trust Krishna. And also, it's given in the beginning of the book that we should forgive ourselves for past mistakes. Okay, now, if anyone wants to, you can look on page 21. We're going to go through the explanations for each of the secrets. We're going to start with secret number 1, accept him. It teaches us how to minimize our husband's faults and weaknesses. So how does accepting our husband as he is and not trying to change him, how does that teach us how to minimize our husband's faults and weaknesses? It teaches us how to minimize his faults and weaknesses by we learn how to accept him as he is and stop trying to change him. So that's the first thing that happens when we start to apply this. We actually begin to learn. We may be a little rough and a little stumbling at first, but gradually Krishna in our heart helps us to learn how to accept our husband as he is and to stop trying to change him. This attitude of acceptance helps our husband to feel free to be who he is and what he is, so that he can be inspired to improve himself on his own. So that's one of the wonderful features of this first secret, is that it helps our husband to feel freedom to be who he is. And he grows in confidence that we love him for who he is. And with that kind of freedom, then he can relax and feel inspired to improve himself on his own. How else does accepting our husband teach us how to minimize our husband's faults and weaknesses? By making a list of his masculine virtues. That's one of the assignments that we did in the beginning of the book. We made a list of our husband's masculine virtues. So this helped all of us to practice thinking of our husbands in a more positive light, which in turn helped our husbands to see themselves in a more positive light. So when you have a positive attitude about someone, they feel it, they sense it, and they respond in a positive way. So the folding back exercise is not discussed very much in Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood. At least it hasn't been in the first 11 chapters, but it's a very good exercise to do. And again, just to remind you, you take a piece of paper, kind of a large piece of paper, you make a line down the center of it, and on one side, you write down a list of all the things that annoy you or disturb you or you don't like about your husband. And then on the other side, you write all of his positive qualities, all the things that you do like and admire and appreciate. And then you fold back the negative side, and you just focus on the positive side. So it's not that you're in denial of his faults and shortcomings, but you just don't focus on them. You focus more on the positives and leave the other to him. You leave the other in Krishna's hands. Okay, so now secret number 2, admire him. Admiration of our husband shows us how to vastly increase his self-confidence and at the same time arouse his love and affection for us. This secret is immensely powerful and when applied brings spectacular results. But it doesn't work unless we have applied secret number 1 first. So secret number 1 comes first, accepting him. Then we can begin to sincerely admire him. And the best thing is if we can admire him in words, because that is the most pleasing, and that is the way that our men like to be admired. They like to hear it spoken. And if you feel too shy to do that, then you can write him a note and tell him something that you appreciate about him. So this vastly increases his self-confidence and it arouses his love and affection for us. So we're not, as devotees, we're not trying to necessarily arouse our husband's love and affection for us. We want our husband to love Krishna. We want him to become Krishna's pure devotee. So that's why we are admiring him. That's our purpose, to encourage him in the most effective ways that we can to help him become the greatest and purest devotee that he can be. So why does secret number 2 not work if we don't follow secret number 1 first? Because if our husband doesn't feel that we accept him as he is, how can he trust us and believe us when we compliment him? So that's just basic common sense. He needs to be able to trust us and believe us. So that comes with acceptance. How does secret number 2 vastly increase our husband's self-confidence? When we sincerely compliment our husband for his masculine virtues and his achievements, the void in his heart is filled. When he feels fulfilled in his heart, he can relax and think of how to do his work for Krishna. This fulfillment comes from Krishna through the medium of sweet words, vacha madhuraya. When we learn how to speak sweet words, that is, phrases and sentences that glorify our husband for a job well done or for one of his positive qualities, we are acting as Krishna's instrument. Remember how Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, among women, I am fine speech. So we are acting as Krishna's instrument to encourage our husband to keep doing those things that earn him our admiration. So when he feels encouraged by us, then he feels enthused. He feels enthused to working more nicely for Krishna. Remember that word enthused or enthusiasm comes from the Greek word that means full of God, filled with God. So we want our husband to feel like that. That's why we're called the power of inspiration for our husband, because we are always trying to give our husbands Krishna in whatever way we can. Practicing this secret gives us an opportunity to pray, to be the Lord's instrument, to encourage our husband with sweet words, and to pray for our husband to realize that the glorification we are offering him is really a blessing coming from the Lord. So when Krishna inspires us to say something sweet and something encouraging to our husbands, that sweet message is coming from the Lord. We should never think that we're the doer, that we are some great speaker of sweet words. No, it comes from Krishna. The art of being able to speak sweet words comes from Krishna. The inspiration to do so comes from Krishna. The words themselves come from Krishna. And the ability of our husband to hear those words and to believe them and take them to heart, that also comes from Krishna. So this is a wonderful way to be Krishna conscious. Practicing secret number 2. Okay, let's go to secret number 3. Make him number 1. I have an idea. Every time I get that little sign coming up on my screen that my internet connection is unstable, I'm going to take a drink of water. Secret number 3, make him number 1. Teaches us how to comfort our man when he's discouraged. How does secret number 3 enable us to comfort our husband when he's discouraged? Secret number 3 is make him number 1. So by teaching us how to communicate that no matter what life throws at our husband, he is always our king, our leader, and our hero. He is the most important person in our life. And just like Devahuti saw Kardama Muni as greater even than Providence, so that's bona fide, as we've said in the past, to see our husband as greater even than Providence. It's actually okay to think like that. So when he knows that we consider him the most important person in our life, and how is he supposed to know that? He sees it by our actions. He sees it by us demonstrating that, like for instance, like we gave the example recently, that if we're engaged in some sort of service to the Lord and our husband calls us from the other room, we say, excuse me, to the Lord, and we go and we pay attention to our husband, because to us, he's greater even than Providence. That's actually pleasing to Krishna. Okay? So when he knows that we consider him the most important person in our life, he will want to live up to that status by being the best he can be and doing the best he can do. Okay? For his freedom, but he will do the very best he can to take good care of us, and provide for us, and protect us in every way. As devotees, we want to apply this secret in such a way as to deepen our husband's love for Krishna, not to deepen our husband's attachment for us. No, we don't want that, because if he thinks of us at the time of death, he's going to take a woman's body. We don't want that to happen. We want him to think of Krishna. So we want him to become more attached to Krishna than to us. So this is one of the little differences between Fascinating Womanhood and our teachings, is that we're not trying to become the center of our husband's life. We want Krishna to be the husband's center, and we want to facilitate that. So we want our husband to taste the kind of love that endures forever, which is Krishna Prema. That's actually the kind of love that endures forever, love for Krishna, Krishna Prema. Remember, we as devotees are not trying to become the center of the universe. We are trying to encourage our husband so that he will become more attached to Krishna. How does secret number 3 help our husband to be more successful in his career and be a better provider? Well, one way that secret number 3 is make him number 1. One way that making him number 1 helps him to be a better provider is that it removes the doubt in his heart that he may not be the most important person in our life. He might doubt that he is the most important person. So if we reassure him, we make it clear by our actions and by our words, and by praying to be able to actually make him number one in our life, Krishna can help us do that. So then that helps remove the doubts in his heart that he may not be the most important person in our life. And then after his doubts are removed, he feels encouraged to do all that he can to take care of us and our children. By expressing that he is number one in our life, we help him find the courage and the drive to fight, to provide for us and protect us. Now, this is something that was in the book. Quote, many women find their husband's income increases significantly within 2 years of living this law of fascinating womanhood. So this may or may not happen. This is not taking into account the law of karma. We may not have it in our karma to have an increase in income. So however our husband can provide for us, we need to learn to adjust ourselves to living within our husband's means and not go beyond his budget. We must learn to be frugal and thrifty and stay within our husband's budget and within our husband's income. Now on to secret number 4. Allow him to lead. This is a very important principle. Allowing our husband to lead teaches us how to let go of worrying about the finances. We just let him worry about the finances because men are so good at that. They don't get as stressed out as we women do. They're so much more capable of handling the stresses of financial concerns. So it really is better for our health also when we leave the financial concerns to our husband and we sit down and talk with him about the idea of giving us an allowance or a budget, and we work within that allowance or that budget on a weekly or monthly basis. And in that way, we can learn how to control our spending, and our husband can feel that he is in control, he is in charge, and that's important for a man. Okay, so it teaches us to feel secure in our husband's ability to provide for us and to make sure he fully accepts his masculine responsibility to do so. Not only does secret number 4 give us the freedom to let our husband take over the finances, which increases his feeling of control. That's good and healthy for him. But it also helps us to depend on him in a feminine way by, number 1, asking for money when we need it. Our husband actually likes it when we ask him for some spending money. Prabhupada is so cute. He was telling a story. Not really a story. He was just giving an example. He said that when the husband is out in the world someone may come and pickpocket. Some thief may come and take something out of his pocket, and oh, he's so upset that this person took his money. But then when he goes home, and his wife reaches in his pocket and takes out 1,000 rupees, he thinks, oh, that's so sweet. My wife is so dear to me. I work hard to make money to provide for her, and here she is taking some money from my pocket. How sweet. So Prabhupada says that actually she's a thief, but the man is so attached, he doesn't think she's a thief. So he jokes like that. But anyway, it is pleasing to our husband to give us money, his hard-earned money, for our needs. Number two, depending on our husband to take care of the finances, helps us to depend on him in a feminine way by trusting his judgment about how to work to support us. Let him make up his own mind. Unless he asks for our advice, then we can give it in a feminine way, gentle and like a question, or at least by saying that I trust you, Prabhu, to make the most intelligent decision how to work to support us. You know very well what your talents are. And you have many talents, and you have a good head on your shoulders, a good brain, and you can figure it out. I trust you. And don't make it sound or look like you are sacrificing anything. Just appear to be very cheerful. Oh, and I wanted to share with all of you that this week my husband looked at me and he said, "So are you chipper?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Good, because I like it when you're cheerful." So I wanted to share that with all of you. Number three, we can help by being thrifty, but don't make a big deal of it. Just be thrifty. Don't unnecessarily spend money on things that you don't really need. But don't make it an embarrassing issue out of it for your husband to make him feel that he's not providing enough income for you to be able to afford what you want and need. So there's a little bit of a delicate balance there. You have to be a little diplomatic to be able to be thrifty, and at the same time not talk about it too much. Just to be respectful and appreciative. Okay. So, and the last one is living within his income or within the budget he has given us. So these are very important points. I wanted to go back over with all of you. Now, it's a little early, so if anybody has a question or a comment or a realization or anything that you've written, something that you've written in your love booklet this week, please, you're welcome to share. We would all like to hear from each other.
Pranam Mataji, I had a question.
Okay.
If our husband is planning to go into full-time service, which means the financial status of the family changes. So in that situation, what is it? How can we help him? I mean, of course, these points are still valid, but specifically in that situation, what should we do to keep him encouraged and obviously it's for the good of the whole family if they all engage in full-time service. But is there anything different we have to do?
Well, as long as the uh, basic necessities of life are provided for the family, then the husband is free to take on full-time devotional service. But if not, then he really doesn't have the freedom to do that, to decide to do that. That's not his prerogative. It is his duty to make sure that his wife and children are provided for, at least in the basic necessities of life. That means enough to eat and a shelter over their head and food, clothing to wear. Okay, and of course, nowadays it's such a big deal to have an education that that should probably be included in that list. But really, the husband is going to have to make sure that he has earned enough to provide the basics for his wife and children before taking on full-time service. And then after he has arranged for that, then he's free to do whatever he likes. And of course, however you encourage him is going to be, I'm sure very nice. Does that help? I'm not sure if I really understood the question.
I was also asking, what can the wife do to support him in that situation? Because one thing is assuming he has taken care of the finances. The other thing is they're going to be spending much more time together, and he's, from the point of view of the normal other karmi people, he is probably not as respectable as those who have a job, and there might be situations. So is there anything specific we need to be mindful of?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure if I really know how to answer that. Maybe maybe someone else has had a similar experience, and maybe they can share. One thing Srila Prabhupada does stress is that one needs to keep working. A man has to work, otherwise he can get sick. So he should be fully engaged in some type of service. And if he's not earning money, that doesn't matter. If he has the courage to stand up for what he believes in the face of people who may be looking on and possibly criticize him for not having a job, that's okay. That's neither here nor there. That doesn't matter, because Srila Prabhupada said that there are only two people we're trying to please. That is Guru and Krishna. So Guru and Krishna, if they are pleased with us, then that's what really matters, not what the public opinion is. Does that kind of help?
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much.
Okay, sorry if I didn't quite understand clearly. Anyone else have a comment or a question or a realization?
Ratipriya Mataji has messaged that these notes are very useful, and can you share it with us?
Oh, sure. You would like to have copies of these notes?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji.
All right, I'll figure out how to put these on email. How's that? If I put them on email, then I can share them with you that way. Is that okay?
Yes, Mataji, that will be
Yes,
okay.
Okay. So anyone who wants a copy of these notes can just WhatsApp me or email me.
Mataji Danvat Pranam. I
Hare
have a
Krishna.
question.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Who's speaking?
Shri Lekha Mataji.
Haribol Shileka.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Danvat Pranam. Mataji, I have a question. Like my daughter, she is not into Krishna consciousness. We unfortunately we were very late to join this, and like she is very much into making a career, and she also wants to go abroad for her studies. In fact, her uncle is staying abroad, so I also want to settle there. So me and my Prabhu always keeps on discussing that no, she should not go abroad. That's not. But she's already 20. So what should we do? You know, like what is right, because that causes a lot of disturbance within us, between our daughter and between us. So like she says, "No, I want to go there and I want to pursue my studies." And I don't believe that, like, she wants to make a career. So how should I? What should we do? You know, like, and of course, sending her abroad is a huge cost. So
Shileka, I was not able to hear everything you said, but let me try to repeat what you said as far as I can understand. You said that your daughter is 20 years old and she's not into Krishna consciousness and she really wants to go overseas to complete her education. Is that correct?
yes, Mataji, yes.
Okay. And you and your husband would rather see like that, right?
Yes. We feel no, it's not right to go abroad, you know, like, but her, like my husband's real brother, he's also there in US. So he also keeps on telling ki, why you have to worry when I am there. But we have that feeling that why should we send our daughter there, you know? So, and you know, of course, it is expensive also. And second thing is like, of course, the culture there is so different. Though my daughter is not that she's not attracted to the culture, but yes, she wants to get her educated, she wants to be a good psychologist. So she says, I want to do my further studies. Why you want to why you feel that if I go there, it's not correct according to. So it's a big question for us.
It is. It's a big question.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. And it's probably something that some of the ladies here who are attending the class can relate to because many of us have older children who have been through a lot of, westernization. They have become westernized in their education and um, just they're highly influenced by the West. So what can we do, Sri Lanka? We're also highly influenced by the West. And we're trying so hard to be devotees, to learn about Krishna consciousness, to get a higher taste for Krishna service. And then we're trying to pass that on to our kids, and our kids are being bombarded from all sides by the influence of the media and electronics. They just practically don't even have a chance unless they're already super high quality souls. So I guess what I would say is my advice to you would be to, because going to she's going to learn her life lessons whether she's under your across the ocean, she's going to learn
Mm.
the same lessons that she needs to learn in order to make progress toward Krishna. Because every soul is a pure devotee of Krishna, and Krishna is in everyone's heart, and he's directing everyone, correcting and guiding every soul. So Krishna is going to make sure she learns what she needs to learn. But it is the duty of the parents to get their daughter, especially, married.
Yeah.
So if she's agreeable to that, then I would say as soon as possible, you should get her married and let her, get into being a wife and a mother and take care of that part of her desire. Then when she's older, her kids are grown up, then she can go back to learn and have a career and whatnot. But right now, she's already 20. She's getting older. She's not getting younger. It's going to be harder and harder for her to give birth to a child and please her husband in every way the older she gets. So better to give her a nice husband as soon as possible. And remember, Srila Prabhupada says that a devotee should marry a devotee and a demon should marry a demon. So you have to look at her horoscope and see what is her guna, or I forget exactly how they say Rakshagun.
Rakshas Gan, Dev Gan, Manushya Gan.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
find out what category she's in and find a nice boy of the same category so that she'll be happy. And if she won't go for that, then what can you do? You're trying your best to satisfy her,
Yeah.
to take care of her,
Mm.
and to guide her properly.
Mm.
But if she won't go for it, then you almost have to just let her go and experience what she has to experience. But it's so terrifying to parents
Yeah.
who are protective, responsible people to
Mm.
see their daughter go and be put into a situation where she could be in danger,
Mm.
or at least where she could be in danger of losing her chastity, her virginity. You have to consider.
Mm.
Parents will do it different ways. You have to be true to your heart. Your husband has to be true to his heart. And you have to take your daughter's desires into account too.
Mm.
So I guess we can all do is pray for you guys, because it's
Yes,
really difficult
Yeah.
decision.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't be more helpful than that. Okay, my lovies. So now Gokul Chandra Prabhu's class has started. So anybody who wants to can go ahead and flip over to that class. And Hare Krishna, everyone. Please send me your names and requests on WhatsApp or on email, and tell me if you want these notes that I wrote. Okay? Thanks everybody for being here tonight. Hare Krishna. All glories
Hare
to
Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you,
Dandavat
Mataji.
pranam.
Dandavat pranam.
Thank you.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna
pranam.
Mataji, thank you, Pranam.